Oh, come on, go live. There we are. Good afternoon, good
Magic.
morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. Here we go. Eyes down for a full house.
Hey, an imposter. Look, there's an imposter.
Yeah, I know. Never believe anything you see online. Ian, just as we started, other Ian, not the Ian that's still active Ian. Oh, there he is. Ian in Wales. What were you going to say about the Arch Pilot conference? Because Chris was there as well, and it was good times. But what were you going to say?
I missed Sunday because I couldn't stay for that day, and that was the big day, actually, in my opinion. I think talking about Randy's multi-lift sort of coordination. I was listening to it on my drive home live, so I had it on in audio. And every time I sort of thought of something, someone was asking the question, and it was just the way he spoke about what happens then if you have multiple aircraft, but one then fails, and what you do with that. And it was really cool because swarming has been around for years. You know, people have talked about swarming, but swarming without utility is pointless. And really, about the only big thing we've seen with swarming in the last few years is drone shows, which we happened to see whilst we were there, which we saw a very good one. But this was very real utility use of multiple aircraft coordinated to shift and load. And the way it was about balancing load was very, very clever, especially when it comes to pendulum and calculating that stuff. It was funny. I was talking to Gary, and it was an amazing conference. There was so much great stuff there, and I could go on for hours about the location and Ben's place and the facilities. But Gary, you'll agree. I said to you this. I hadn't seen anything like yet when I was there. I was I said to Gary, we're missing something.
And where was it? It was on Sunday, and you'd gone.
But I did. I said to you, Gary, innit? I said, I just feel we're missing a big something. And that was it. Randy, and I thought it was actually Randy's Ready to Fly drone. Originally, it was going to be it. But no. Things Ready to Fly drone. But no, it wasn't. It was, I wasn't Randy. It was Things Talk. Not Randy.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. But I'll write Leonard Hall.
And everyone was just gob to the jaw to the floor.
It had far more. It was by far the most commented talk. And just sort of to give a very crude idea. Look, here I have a working model. Now imagine that each one of these propellers is actually a quad or whatever, a multi-rotor that thinks it's connected to the others as if it's one machine. And that was one of the differences. And speaking to him about it, he also plans on actually using crane controls. Oh, look out. Look, we've managed to track Louis now. We're just talking about that excellent talk. And it all had crane terminology from cranes, of course, and so it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary, and I'm flustered now. I'm not putting it very well, but it was an amazing set of innovation, lifting loads, and if the power is dodgy on the front too, then it will adjust to make sure it trims so the power loss goes down equally, all sorts of things, swinging and dropping the loads. So let's say
it's even the physics of, look, getting a load to move. You're going to have the lag of the pendulum, let's just say. You move that way, the load wants to stay where it is, but it's the whole physics of coming to a stop in such a way that doesn't then start a pendulum effect and counteracting that. And it was just very, very well done. It's a very, very clever map.
I believe the most impressive thing is that it's not done with only two. It can be done with multiple.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh, there's Dan. And Dan's just arrived in the chat from some Irish thing. I don't know what it is. Some Irish startup thing. And
that little Irish company,
that little Irish company, yeah. And on the on whatever night it was, Philip poured one of the Irish gentlemen a Guinness in the pub, and that didn't go down too well. No, Manor, they gave an amazing talk, and the most amazing thing about the Manor talk, and excuse me, Dan, for saying this, but was when they put up the live map of the deliveries happening now, not we intend to, it might be nice to, we could do this, we might be able to do that. He put up a map. We are doing it now, and that to me was. That was quite extraordinary, quite a moment. And of course, Chris was there, but he only came for the party because that's the sort of fellow he is.
I couldn't deny that. No,
which I missed.
That was on the Thursday night. It was on the Thursday night. Yeah, so it was a heck of a thing. And
I turned up, met 3 people, and left with 3 solutions to problems that I've had for the last 12 months, which was just like, ooh, that's weird. Wasn't expecting that. And it was just bonkers. All the right people in the right place, which is just
there's never been a group of quite so many drone experts in the UK.
The thing that's frustrating with that is, I think it is a slightly missed opportunity of it's just RG devs there. And it's like, no one else is really invited along, and anyone that was there was really because from knowing Philip, where it would be a good opportunity to operators that are used to just the DJI world to have seen what went on. You get some converts, and I think when you're going from country to country and doing that, it would be useful to actually think, wait a minute, we should invite X number along from the local operators to.
It's not the goal of the developers conference.
But it's not done in any other way, Louis. So it's the only opportunity. There's people that could have been brought into the RG Pilot world that never will be, and it's just a missed opportunity because the RG Pilot stuff isn't, everything's like on Discord or on this forum thing, and that it isn't bringing people in. Whereas if you're in the DJI world, you're going to be just hopping onto a Facebook group.
At what the developer conference is. You get Apple's developer conference, you get the Microsoft developers conference. Those are more focused to the bits and bytes because
all those companies do their own thing anyway to go out and grab audiences where RG Pilot doesn't. So if you don't do anything else in that space in those countries, then it just seems to me a bit of a lost opportunity, given it'd be no skin off anyone's nose if there was just an extra few people stood in the corner listening to the stuff and going, oh, that's brilliant, that is. You know what I mean?
It's not that easy to put up a conference for general public to attend, and although Ardu Pilot is already an established brand, it's still too much geeky, and people in the know. And the expansion of the professional users of Ardu Pilot is significant. We can see this for the number of partners that we have supporting Ardu Pilot projects. But this conference is bits and bytes. So it's very hard to would have to be longer, more staffed, different location, putting up an exposition. Hey, we've discussed that. So we keep it small, and focused on developers.
It was, look, you say small, it was about 150 people or just a little under that, I think. So, but I suppose that's small, but it really was the brains trust were there. It was extraordinary, and so very well organized by KH and Unmanned and the guys there. Oh look, and ladies and gentlemen, Canada joins the room. How's it, Josh? So no, it was extraordinary. I'll put the video link for the cooperative link left in the chat there. I suppose we could just jump to a couple of newsy things. This is tomorrow. Are we all aware of this? Yes? No? Am I muted?
Yeah, it's hard to get excited of anything from.
Yeah.
Some kind of garden sprinkler, or is it some kind of watering device?
Portable sprinkler, Bruce. It is. It's. I think. Look, Skydio are doing some very interesting stuff, but what you're seeing this with other companies when companies pull out of the consumer space, trying to do releases like this, but in the business or industrial space. It's like trying to. It's like Lockheed doing something massive and trying to sell the next plane. The general public doesn't care. If Skydio was still selling products within the consumer space, that would have a knock-on effect to the SME space, the small enterprise drone user. Now they're unobtainium for most people. Now, not only unobtainium because you can't even buy them in half the countries, but also from a cost perspective. You know, you've got them, Teal, they're all making very similar aircraft. Skydio's tech is well ahead of most, to be fair to them. But again,
just not DJI.
It's military money. Really, let's be honest, that's what's going to be funding pretty much anyone who's not in the consumer space now. The US drone industry. I don't know if you saw, Gary, the video from Red Cat that was out a couple of days ago. You know, they're all doing this now. It's about US drones, the US warfighters. Didn't realize we were at war. That's the bit I seem to have missed, is we've got war drones for warfighters. I just don't know where the war is for the war drones and the warfighters in the US. Because, yeah.
Well, they're going to...
And
is that a cracking Barbie? That's a Barbie, isn't it?
Yeah, but don't forget America is now an arms dealer, the biggest arms dealer in the world. So that probably not for themselves; it'd be for export.
But the thing is, hey, this is only show off because the guys that are on real war are putting together FPV drones, are putting together DIY drones. They are putting together $1,000 drones that will take $1 million missiles to take them down. So, but now in Europe, it's a dangerous time to fly because with all those drone sightings everywhere, come on, flying over the parliament or in Romania or Poland or whatever. Oh. Come on, it's not a Russian drone. It's someone with a DJI. Yeah, it's getting very dangerous to fly drones now.
Look, it'll probably sell very well to the markets it's for. Industrial, search and rescue. You know, everyone's getting on board with this autonomous sort of base station that DJI started with. You know, we've got it here with them showing the DJI probably the first to get it into the market properly.
Yes. But there
DJI had it early, didn't they? So
yeah, but that was another problem. But
is there any truth to the rumor that Boston Dynamics have sort of teamed up with ChatGPT to produce a military Karen to deal with drones?
Well, yes. If you say if it's a rumor in 2025,
must be true.
It is True. Yes. So
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, there's rumors in. I believe this phrase now is rumors in truth, because truth must be rumors, can't be right.
The ultimate counter UAS.
But do you guys find
Yeah.
with all these commercial drones, the launches, and how busy the military market, like, are we not in another bubble? And like in 3 years from now, who is everyone going to be around?
It's an interesting question, because we were talking about this on my Discord, and someone was asking me about Red Cat. Is Red Cat a good investment? And I would never give investment advice. Truth is, I think Red Cat and some of these companies are going to go to the moon over the next 3 or 4 years. The reality is, with the current US administration, with the way things are, with DJI very likely being
and the more powerful motors they're using, that'll get them there.
Yeah, they've got their own motors now. I think the chances are some of this stock is going to probably do very well to a point. But is any of this a real business? And that is the bit we haven't seen yet, because unless you're selling you're going to sell an awful lot of drones at a low price, or very few drones at a high price.
But have you seen the price of military stuff? It's not a low price. Doesn't matter how simple or inexpensive it is to make, it's always a very high price. The thing that worries me about stockpiling of drones, as I mentioned it before, is that you stockpile, 10,000 FPV drones today, and if there's a war in 5 years' time, all the batteries are buggered already. They're
gone. Yeah, and I was talking to someone today about this, how there's certain things that don't have shelf life. I used to be in the potato chip game. Lays have 63 days of shelf life. Walkers for those in the UK, and batteries are going to expire. And then there's certain components, your carbon fiber is probably not going to go bad even if you store it weird. But then you've got someone made the comment, people are going to stock up on flight controllers. But what happens when there's a new chip that comes out with a new capability and a new software that requires that chip? What does that look like? What can you actually stockpile? And I'm seeing it. Isn't it better just to have the capability? Isn't it now better to be able to build motors, to build and do injection molding, etc., instead of just, I'm going to build the best whistle today because your whistle's out of date no matter what you do next year?
Yeah, the thing is, though, you're still going to have the materials to build, so you're going to have that supply line in place before you need it, and you can't just turn that on at a drop of a hat. So it's very complicated when you've got high consumption of complex technology. It's very difficult to have enough in stock or to have enough production quantity when you need it.
Well, just look at Jaguar Land Rover, and sorry, Ian, but just look at Jaguar Land Rover. They're faced with a hacking attack. They've stopped the production line, and the ripple effect through their supply chain might yet take them down, mightn't it? But they deserve
that. Did you see that new car they were going to build? Oh man, they deserve everything they get. Goodness me.
Yeah, okay.
The rhetoric right now is drones for war out of the US. If you take the rhetoric isn't, we want drones for first responders to help find lost civilians. The rhetoric is drones to kill people.
No, I disagree with that. I think the rhetoric now, it used to be we're against China, but now it's we need Part 108 BVLOS drone delivery, and we need war. The drones for utility.
Sorry.
The drone, we either need pizza delivered or we need bombs delivered. I don't think there's anything else.
Well, imagine it. You're in a theater of war. You got all these drones. You can only fly them as far as you can see them because you'd be breaking the rules.
And those would be rules you don't want to get.
But I just find where is it's all about war, but where is this war? The US is not at war. Europe.
Have you never seen their streets?
War.
No, that's London. That's London, mate.
There's an interesting rhetoric being said.
Well, they've got to catch up with the training, haven't they? I mean, that they are nowhere when it comes to the training of units and things like that. So that's probably your 10,000, and those will probably be crashed and gone within 6 months. So there's your next 10,000. I can see where.
One thing I'm hearing more and more is defense communities are starting to say drones are not assets; they're throwaways.
Yes. Yeah,
like bullets. Like bullets.
We do not treat these. And so at least that, I found that in the last 6 to 12 months has been a very good positive change in rhetoric on what are these things? They're treatable, right? They're throwaways. We don't right now the Canadian government has a challenge at where they want drones to be made FPV for under $800 Canadian. So that's $500 American. And they're saying, hey, we will pay 30 companies $35K just to submit a proposal. And then from that, we'll give $300K to start building a plan. and then we'll give 600K for 2 prototypes. And all they want, and by the time they get down to that 600K, it's going to be down to like 5 or 10 companies. But one, they're just feeding the industry, which is good, economic development stuff. But also, it's like they're calling it out. Like, we don't want to break $50,000 drones. We want to throw away $1,000 drones, and we will throw those away at mass. Someone figure it out who can produce at scale.
But they're seizing all the DJI drones, so they could use those. And also, the tariff money has to go somewhere, doesn't it?
What does that then
mean?
mean?
The drone that's cheap is you're not going to do a drone at that price that's going to be able to.
No, they don't want it. They don't
No,
want.
the point being though is you wouldn't be able to do a drone at that price that would have any defense at all against a counter drone capability. So you could build, say for argument's sake, you could build 10,000 drones. Have them flying.
Sorry,
one of the
fiber optic
systems that's being developed at the moment could blap that entire lot out of the sky. So your money's just gone boom.
$500. It's perfectly doable under $500 with fiber optics. It's damn easy. The fiber optics are cheap.
You can't have a mass of drones at once on fiber optics.
They do already.
Yeah,
you don't. You're not flying a swarm and sweeping them about between each other. You get all the wires tangled, and then,
it's called macrame. They leave baskets in the air.
That's exactly what I was
saying.
going
One
to say.
way, and it's that way to hit the target, and that's what Ukraine has shown. That it's cheap. Everyone's moving away from wireless because they don't want the ability for the pilot to be a target, so they're moving into fiber. And it's literally 1 or 2 kilometers. That's all they need. They're not looking for mass range, and boom. And that's
Gary, I sent you the link. Take a look at this. It's a pretty. You got to be Canadian. It's Canadian focused. I know there's a couple in this call right now.
Is it written in Canadian?
Yeah, we use OUR.
Google Translate will handle it.
Yeah, will it? Do they? Do they? Are Google allowed to? Are they?
I don't know if Google can read crayon.
I wouldn't be so close to him on the screen if I was you.
No. Yeah, hang on. Let's where? Oh no, there he is right there. Yes.
Here, Gary, go to.
I've gone to the link. I was just so taken aback by that comment. I paused for a second. Was that the one you were talking about?
Yeah. So scroll down here. I'll point out where. So this is the round. Submit a plan. 35K is up for grabs. Then 350. Then 650. But go to applicant guide, I think. Oh, you just missed the button. Yeah, good. And then go down to challenge statement, Annex A.
Annex A, was that?
Oh, at the very top. Go up. You can see there. It's underneath number 9.
Underneath number 9. Oh, okay.
So they're trying to build out our capacity, and at the same time, they want to assess who can do what. And like they know that this is a difficult challenge. They know that. And like they're very clear in this proposal funding that like they don't expect cutting edge technology. They don't expect, the best thing in the world. Their essential outcome is achieve low cost production to enable mass adoption, feature interchangeable components, but they don't want any sort of like they don't want like the most newest sense and avoid or something like for GPS denied navigation. Like avoid excessive complexity, avoid foreign supply chain dependency, avoid complex operational requirements. So they're very much like build us a basic thing. So if you scroll down a little bit below objective, it says essential outcomes, then design considerations. And if you scroll down design considerations, it says to guide your design approach, we encourage participants to avoid. A little bit more, little tiny.
There we are.
Don't bring us complex stuff. Bring us simple things. And I think at the same time, when I see this, I look at this as like, is the strategy for each country to build their capabilities so that they can produce when needed? Because I just read about a recent article where they were analyzing Russia versus Ukraine, and one of the critiques of the article was that although the Ukrainians are they've created this new warfare technique, too much of it is like decentralized, whereas the Russians are centralizing it, so they're able to do marginal improvements every day on their Shaheeds and the different aircraft they're building. Whereas in Ukraine, the statement was that, and I don't know this is just what the article was stating, that it was too distributed, that all the lessons learned aren't being centralized. So there's a lost chance of innovation on having things, it's kind of like the Silicon Valley effect. Everyone in one little spot working together, you kind of create this compound effect. So I feel like this approach is more of a, can we create a industrial base that we used to have with like Arion?
Well, but of course, Ukraine has the defense of being the place where most of the shows are hitting, and the Russians are building their capability hundreds of kilometers behind the front line, so they've got a bit of an advantage there. But I hear what you're saying, and as you say, this does speak to the shelf life conversation that we're beginning to have, doesn't it? They plainly don't have it, and you're not going to. 500. Well, I wonder, Louis will shout at me now, or Ian, or someone will shout at me. But I do wonder if a $500 drone sat in a box for a year is going to work as well when you pull it out of the box in a year's time.
That's easy.
Go find a GoPro.
With the exception of the battery, nothing rots. So we all have drones from 5 years ago.
True. Yes, true.
10 years ago, with APM 2.5, you don't need much more than an APM 2 boards.
Got one
You've got to stick with the cool kids. You can't have the last revision of Betaflight. It's just so last year.
Everyone has homework this week. Go and fly a drone, the oldest one you can find. Record a video. Fly.
Everyone has homework.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. I can win this one.
I still have a flame wheel. Can you beat that?
Okay.
Yes.
Can you beat that, Bruce?
Yes, I think I have a tricopter with rate gyros of helicopters on it somewhere.
Oh, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, that one.
I can't fly my oldest drone because it's a Phantom 1 and it flew away.
Oh, it went to zero.
I can't fly any of my drones, but that's another story totally.
That's another story altogether.
Oh.
Don't be drawn on that.
If needed, I have a solo here. So if anyone wants to fly, it's more or less from the same age as your flown away DJI.
Oh no, it's a few. No, it's quite a few years on from the first Phantom.
Ian Hudson, it says on here. Is this yours? They did in my backyard many years ago.
Yeah, just fell out the sky.
No, it was on his RTC return to China mode. So
does it count if I get something flying with that KK board?
Yeah.
Is it a Hobby King one or an earlier one?
It is a Hobby King one.
I've got those. Yeah, I've got a couple of those. The collector's items, mate.
And the thing is, you don't need much more than that for disposable drones. Disposable drones.
They're all disposable, Louis. You're not trying hard enough.
So what I found strange was that when I was at DSCI last week, there was a huge amount of quadcopters. Skydio, big stand there. But what it occurred to me was like, actually, what are we trying to do? And just focusing on quadcopters, not Shaheeds or anything like that, but just on the quadcopter thing. We've got all these FPVs and we've got these fiber drones and all of that. And it just occurred to me that actually, if you wanted to, I'm sure there's some use in delivering munitions with quadcopters. And actually, I just wondered if whether or not quadcopters would end up being repurposed actually as a delivery vehicle for existing munitions as such. And I just I was having some thoughts as I was walking around there going, how hard would it actually be to, forget the FPV side of things, just bring some AI in there. And you could just effectively have some sort of quadcopter with some sort of explosive fragmentation grenade payload. And you could just say, go over there. It's they're over there. Go and find them and do bad things. And literally just, send them on their way and, just set a range on it. And, you look at the, people have been, working out new ways of delivering ordnance, for hundreds of years.
Wasn't that what was going on 6 months ago? They had that big quadcopter or hexacopter called Ghost that would fly mortars beyond the enemy lines and drop them on demand.
Well,
All I'm
DJI
saying
Neo
is,
will chase you.
Did it have the ability to do it without without human intervention? So you just like go
Why
that
do
way.
you need
Do
that
bad stuff over there.
capability?
Dead,
The thing is,
dead reckoning navigation. Do your bad stuff over there. Go on.
all I'm saying is
the thing is,
8209
why do we
Robocop. I've seen
don't
how it ends up.
overcomplicate it. Just keep it smart and stupid. Don't complicate it. It's a disposable thing. If you put some smarts in it, you're increasing the value from $250 to $1,500, $2,000. And it's disposable. Okay, a missile costs 1 million, and it also goes bang. But you want to produce 1 million of those $500 drones.
And that is so. This FPV AI automatic tracking module is $500. So yeah, there's doubling of that drone straight away. You can buy the fiber optic thing with the controller all ready to go now, can't you? It's not even a cobbled together unit. It's ready to go fairly good way. So
and you can choose the distance, and the payload is quite surprisingly light.
I know.
It's I was astounded. I was picking up one that has 5 kilometers of fiber. And that thing weighs almost nothing. I don't know the right weight, but it's astounding. The 5 kilometers of fiber optics on a small roll, and you put it out. You don't put it in. So
yeah, so you're not having to pack it away, are you? Yes.
So
But don't forget,
the guy that was showing me connected to a drone, and he would do 30-40 meter flights, and then slice the fiber and resolder it on the receiver again. And that's the test that they were doing. And he said, I don't care. I have 5 kilometers of fiber inside. So,
but when it comes to price, don't forget that a 115 millimeter artillery shell costs $4,000.
yeah.
So 500 or 1,000 makes no difference for a drone. $2,000 for a drone. It's probably more effective than a single artillery shell. So the price is inconsequential.
Yeah.
And you don't need a howitzer to put it in.
Yeah, that you've had to drag there with a truck using fuel, on etc.
Yeah,
and have 3 or 4 trained people to operate it, etc. No, it's a terrible subject, but I suppose we should touch on it just once more. Well, actually, we'll continue in another way.
The thing is, in the end, sorry, Gary. Don't overcomplicate it. When I see the demos from Skydio and the suppliers, hey, they're fantastic. I'm a geek, and I like to see fantastic demos, self-flying drones, tracking drones, all that shit. I really love it. In the end, what those guys want, this thing is for flash, and the guys want to shoot. So let's keep it simple.
Yeah, you don't want anti-collision technology on a drone that's designed to hit something.
Collide. It's awful. But Chris, before we move on to the next military topic, which is also related to you, what did you see anything at DSEI that really went whoa? Or was it just everything you expected?
I quite like some of the remote maritime boats. They were cool. They was zooming around outside in the locks, and they look pretty cool. But I didn't see anything new. I saw tons and tons of the same thing in terms of quadcopters and VTOLs, and I didn't see anything revolutionary. I didn't sit there and go, wow, that's going to make a difference. So I just
Did you have a nosy at any counter drone?
Sorry,
did you have a nosy at any counter drone?
I didn't. I was there to see a few people about target practice, which is what Gary's just put up. So I have. How do I put this? Some people wanted to shoot my drones out of the sky. And so they got in touch and said, could we borrow some of your drones and could we try and shoot them? And so this is going back a couple of years now. So people have been trying to shoot some of our drones out of the sky. And that made us realize that actually, you know, what do you do with all of those old drones that are, you know, are out of date? And so a friend of mine asked me if I would help him put together a small business called Target Practice, and that's hence what we're doing. It's basically, have you got a large quantity of old drones that we can fly in a swarm, or can we fly sort of, you know, 50 meters per second sort of target drones, etc. So we've been asked for in the past, and a colleague, ex-army colleague, you know, has basically, you know, asked us to consult on this and provide the counter UAS companies in Europe a solution with regards swarming and with regards single target chasing.
I have to jump in here for one moment. Something that upset me a lot with this.
Go on then.
You've got a hyphen in the URL, and I think that's criminal. I think the only worst thing is an underscore. But that really did upset me.
It was purely there just to enrage you, Ian. It was, you know,
a moment's silence for Ian.
Well, no, but what I think is what I'm more worried about is that poor airliner on the top right of this of the shot that's plainly going to be shot down by these drones. Can you see the contrail there? I mean, I'm not entirely sure how you managed to fly that safely.
Well, there you go. It's you know, who's to say it was flown in the UK? That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, well,
you know,
look, young man. It doesn't matter where the passengers are. They're somewhere, and it doesn't matter that they're not in the UK.
Well, there you go. So, yeah, so we're just basically providing a solution to the UK and European militaries who want to, and blue light services as well. This all came about from a rather bizarre conversation with some blue light people who will remain nameless, who came to see us and said, any chance we could possibly interfere with a swarm of, you know, could you provide us a swarm that we could try and interfere with? And we were like, maybe. So yeah, so it came from that. So we're sort of, you know, we're hoping to work with the counter UAS guys and say, look, you know, whatever format you want, if you want us to, you know, fly 1,000 targets at you or rotate 1,000 targets around you 360 sort of thing, you know, we have that capability. And you know, if you want to destructively test our systems, we can arrange that as well. So that's you know, that's where we're at, really. Very simple. Reusing old kits, because, you know, we've touched on the fact that, you know, if you put your drone in you know, away for 5 years and come back to it, the battery's going to be cooked. But actually, the battery probably may have, you know, 2 or 3 minutes left in it as opposed to half an hour. And you know, that's perhaps all they need for just seeing and detecting, what, you know, your location as such. So that's
So we're all going to say hello to Brandon's grandson. Hello, Brandon's grandson. It doesn't seem he's old enough to have them. Hello, Brandon. Yeah, but it's got to be that it's got to be that the counter stuff is tested a little bit more thoroughly than it has been to date. So we are going to need stuff like this to go out and do it. Would they be notified that you were attending an event, or will your swarm descend on an event, or this company's swarm descend on an event?
This company's swarms are purely for testing, you know, so it's a contractual basis. They're not going to be rocking up just out of you know, at random. They are there for purely for, you know, can you detect a line of 100, you know, coming sort of horizontally at you, or can you you know, detect a line of 100 coming, you know, one after the other at you, sort of thing. So that's really what we worked out. We got the capability of, and the, you know, obviously the funniest thing is that we're sort of reusing less than the most modern drones. So that, you know, some of these are 3-4 years old, and some of the bigger chase drones that we've been using are even older than that. But yeah, it's it's a new venture, and something I have to say, I don't fly the drones, obviously,
no.
but I am consulting on this, and we got to, I was at DSEI launching this, and sort of talking to people about, so what test patterns would you like us to fly, and how we can do that, and how does your counter UAS system, what sort of resolution are you looking at? Are you able to pick up a 45 centimeter quadcopter, stacked one on top of the other kind of thing, or is it just going to be seen as one? So, but it's early days. So we have got a couple of potential trials in the pipeline, and as I say, once the authorizations have been sought from the European countries, then they will be flying, hopefully.
But sorry, just a question, because right at this moment there is the REPMUS exercise here in Portugal, where several NATO countries are flying their latest offerings on robotic experiments and showing off to each one what they are doing. Are you going to be involved in this next year, perhaps?
But potentially. I think most of my colleagues' operations and contacts are mainly in Europe at the moment. But that whole sort of standard of test for swarm stuff is, we don't know of any standards for counter UAS stuff to be able to detect swarming, and that's really what we sort of want to develop.
That's an interesting sentence there in itself, isn't it? We don't know any standards for counter UAS detection. That's an interesting idea, isn't it? To have a standard for that sort of thing.
If there's a standard, there's a counter UAS.
Yes, there would be, wouldn't there? But there's no real proof, is there, at the minute? And now, so this exercise is happening in Portugal, is it, Louis?
Yeah, it's a NATO country all around, showing off to each other what they've been doing, both in maritime robotics and flying robotics included. So they do this thing each year here in south of Lisbon, and they are doing it as we speak.
Well, it's also interesting that there's Tech Ever are doing really well in the UK, and they've just opened another factory, so their fourth facility in the UK. So there's a Portuguese company doing really well in the UK. Now, let's put Ian sent this one. Let's get Ian.
Sorry. This Tech Ever is the wrong approach of what the Ukrainians are doing, because their drones are big, usually fixed wing, and they are using it in deployments of surveillance. So they're not militarized with, or let's say they are not armed. So they're more on the surveillance type. So they're different from what we've discussed previously of mortar carrying drones or something like that.
But you could put bombs on them.
Hey, you could put bombs on that tiny drone that Ian has shown on his channel. So
let's just move away from this. I've had enough of this version of the conversation. Let's go on to this, which I think is some positive news. Ian, do you want to pick up with where this tweet's going to go?
Well, hopefully it's some positive news. Obviously, journalists are debating over this, but today the government announced that it is pushing forward with the Hillsborough Bill, which we've talked about in the past, which is basically going, if you click within that, there's a screenshot with the wording, but it will make it an offence for someone in the public sector to lie. So if you misdirect the press, it's not that one, Gary. That's okay. The big thing. There's a screenshot with the actual wording.
This one here.
It's a smaller one. That one, the top one.
Yeah.
So we see here, a public servant or official commits an offence if he or she intentionally or recklessly misleads the general public or media, misleads court proceedings, and impedes the discharge of the duty by act or omission, etc., etc., etc. So this is, this is quite important, because if it means that press officers spinning a load of nonsense is an offence, it would.
But does it? At what point is a press?
Ultimate defence. It was an accident.
Now, the correct wording is: the information we gave you was good at the time we gave it. Sorry, that's the.
Well, you kind of have to prove that, because it's saying here if you intentionally do it, and it has intentionally happened that press officers have put out incorrect information and can be proved to have done so. And likewise with the Freedom of Information Act, there's been information that's been put out that's
we
false.
were not informed of those events, so we gave you what we had. Come
it's
on,
the best information available at the time.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work though, because you can actually go back and prove that people had stuff beforehand. It's already happened, and it's been proven that lies have been told. So there are instances where it has happened, and
misinformation on the source.
Yeah, I was going to say with the ICO, they did seriously look at, for a regulator that we have discussed often on this show, looking at Section 77, which is a criminal offence. The trouble is with the criminal offence, it's even tougher to prove when you're saying someone's deliberately hidden something. But I think the wording of this would actually, it would help it, because you're kind of underlining these general principles that you shouldn't be lying. The sad thing is, we shouldn't have to have laws, but we've already had this so many times, and we've got a thing called the Nolan principles that say, if you're a public sector worker, you shouldn't be lying. But it's got to the point where it just keeps continuing on, as we've seen with the post office inquiry and so on and so on and so on, that unfortunately it is necessary. So we will see what happens with this. I mean, the journalist here, Gareth Caulfield, raising the point that he thinks this could be arguably an overstep, in that, he's saying, well, it's great for him. He makes a comment here, slightly flippantly, that, it'd be great for him that he can just tell the press officer that if they don't tell him the truth, they're committing an offence. And that's like, woo. But he doesn't think that, because the point that's made here as part of the discussion is, if you get a minister on Newsnight being questioned, you're almost guaranteed within 30 seconds he's going to be lying. So the CPS are going to be in a position where they're not going to want to take these kind of cases to court. So I think it will still be few and far between when, things have got to a point where the media have got a particular issue, and it can be proven, especially stuff where we're talking about the severity of Hillsborough. There'd be no doubt you would use this, but the question will be, will it ever get used for something less significant? Which
it won't stop them lying, because you've still got to prove intent, and they can tell lies, and as long as they weren't doing it intentionally or recklessly, they can get away with it. You've got to prove intent. That's quite a high barrier to reach sometimes.
Yeah, it is, but recklessly is the one that I'm a bit more. What is recklessly when you're talking about that? It's hard to say, isn't it? How do you
just watch one of my drone videos? You'll get the idea.
Yes, exactly. I was talking to my nephew, who is a barrister, on the weekend, and we were talking around the word lying and intention and all those things, and he put it very plainly and clearly to me, but I'm not clever enough to repeat what he said and get it right. But the proof of burden that he uses in cases and things like that, it was very, very interesting. Because I was surprised that he was able to call and would happily call someone a liar in court. I thought, whoa, even he'd have to be a bit careful of saying that word. but he explained to me, he dragged me through how he would turn people, what they were saying and the evidence they had, and then to get to the point where it's plain that a lie was a lie, or that the person had told them it's truth. And there are ways and means. It was quite interesting. I didn't even think he could use that sort of language in court, but he does. So I hope
language being used, but we can't talk about it.
There's all sorts of language used in places near courtrooms. What did I want to say? I wanted to say that you would hope, or I would hope, or no hope, or Bob hope, that that it might cause some civil servants and people in a chain of a prosecution or a problem or a story to just pause for thought and think about what they say, or think, oh, hang on a minute, this could come back and kick me in the backside if I'm not careful. So I would hope that might.
That's what I'm hoping as well. Yeah. Oh, but Gary, in the private chat, if you scroll to the very top, I put something in, just a slight deviation away from Jones for a moment, but into
the very top. Oh, yeah. No, I've got that one ready to go. Oh, you bloody hell, here we go. Right. Look, before I click this link, is everybody sitting comfortably? Everybody got an adult beverage?
It's not that. I'm only 2 seconds. Stop making a big drama.
Oh, well, look. Ian says he's going to be 2 seconds. I think that's fair warning, dear viewer. Fair warning. Right. Okay. I'll pull it up. Hang on. Share. Here we go. How's that?
I won't be too long on this because I'm not a Nikon user. And they have to focus in the opposite direction to Canon, which Lumix and everyone else adopts as well. So I wouldn't be changing my lenses. But I thought this was really interesting for the whole, because obviously everyone that's into drones, most people have normal cameras anyway, especially in the commercial realm. So this is really interesting because Nikon has been good for photography cameras, but has been absolutely abysmal for video. And this is their first proper change in that they bought out Red a number of years ago. Is that Louis with a Nikon? So they bought out Red a number of years ago, who made the cinema cameras, and now that they're kind of utilizing that their patents and presumably experience to have brought out a very capable and very affordable camera. So this has got a stack sensor, so you get less rolling shutter. That itself, they're normally quite expensive. So this price of $2,200 to have a stack sensor, to have the they've even got
Ian, this is the baby rail
in there. It's insane. This is really, really cheap for what it is.
Ian, this is a baby Red. You can get. Why don't you get the real Red?
Because this is 2,200 quid. It is nothing for a camera. This.
No, nothing.
So this is undercutting the competition. So I think this will send some shockwaves and may even push prices down from some of the competition. In fact, the other Ian, you could probably jump in here because you know your cameras.
Just buy a Pixis.
I'd seen this come out, but I hadn't really paid that much attention until now. I was just looking. What will be interesting is what they offer, because if you think about the market, people want small portable cameras that can do raw footage straight to an SSD, as an example. We don't want to be having to buy proprietary SSDs. We want USB-C.
This is straight to compact flash. Although the bizarre thing is the backup recordings to a micro SD, which you can't get as fast speed. So the backup recording bit is a failure on this. So that is the one downside. But other than that, it's pretty amazing.
But does that just create proxies?
Yeah.
Well, even if you were, you don't want a backup that's inferior if you've lost your footage. You know, I say it's good and well, but yeah, in an ideal world, you want two cards of the same type of the same speed, where you're basically getting a proper backup, so that you're not losing anything. But I mean, Nikon aren't alone in this. Even like some of the Lumix cameras, you have not got the same cards on both, so you're having to record a lower quality backup, so you're still at a risk. So it's not like a cross against it that says you don't buy it. Everything else is so wonderful. It's just one of those things that if you were trying to get all the ticks in the box of saying this is a perfect camera, that's the one where they've let themselves down. But other than that, it's absolutely staggering.
Well, let's go to Mick's story, which is a feel-good story. I can't find it anywhere else than Facebook. The 2 women lost in dense bush for more than 6 hours on Sunday night were delivered water, food, and lighting by drones in an effort to bring them home safely. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know quite how lost they were, if they were on a public path and they did that, but
there's nothing. I saw in the Daily Mail that they found a dog that was lost. It reunited with its owner after days. It was very, I had a tear. Shed a tear, I did.
God, you're a git. You are a git.
If it was in the UK, it'll be classed as an immigrant because everything is right now. So, yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, yes, you're having interesting times over there. So before we go, we got 5 minutes. What else have we seen in this droney world, people? What's new?
I will grab something from Freedom of Information in a minute.
Oh, here we go. That's the next hour, isn't it?
No.
The FOI show.
That's the FOI. Yeah. Well, hopefully with this regulation coming in, that there will be a little bit more thought on the part of folks. The way stories are shifting around and the narrative's changed by whoever you send stuff into. It's not right and it shouldn't happen. So let's fingers crossed on that. Have you posted it in and I've missed you doing it? You have, because it's around the corner of my camera. Yeah. Here we go. Let's go here. Let's wait for it to.
This is just a little one, and this dates back all the way to Gatwick's favourite event, to Louis' favourite event, which was Gatwick, obviously. So I'm just having to do this to put stuff more in the public domain, because one of the arguments that keeps being misused for freedom of information is national security and saying things aren't in the public domain. So one way of getting them in the public domain is putting them on X and putting it all together, which I shouldn't have to do, but it's just an addition to it. So we know, as we discussed on the show with the Freedom of Information against the DFT, that the night fighter jammer was at Gatwick in 2018, and this was done secretly and against the advice of the Ministry of Defence, who said don't use it. But the Home Office pushed for it to be used regardless. I say used, given to somebody who then couldn't see a drone to use it against, because obviously there wasn't a drone there. But the interesting thing with this is I had to put it out there and say, here's the proof that this is in the public domain, because there is actually a contract for the Home Office spending £5 million for the MPCC for RF effectors from Steel Rock, and the product that Steel Rock make is Night Fighter. So it was just putting this together as part of the evidence. I'm putting together plenty of evidence, as I do for the ICO, say this stuff is public domain. This absolute nonsense of trying to just hinder freedom of information using national security is a disgrace. We don't see this in the US, where they've probably got more of an argument on national security and so on. But they come clean, and we just don't have that going on here. So here I put it there, that it's on there on X, and that you can click through and see the link. But it's just interesting that this is a contract that's going on now. So I think this was 2024, and it runs for a number of years. So this will be, I presumably, it's providing the guns and then the maintenance. So at this point in time, there will be police that are using this exact product, and there's tenders in asking for hard kill effectors. So we're looking at shooting things down. But my worry around these is when we're giving people lots of effectors, when we're not having a drone problem that's requiring drones to be routinely shot down. And as we've seen with Lake and Heath and so on, we have people that will see anything in the sky, assume it's a drone, and if they've got something in their hand that they can shoot at it, they will do so. So you have got an opportunity here for an accident one day, especially at an airport.
Absolutely. And then just very quickly, these are submarines that Mick was referring to. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, if anyone else has anything else, going once, going twice, dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, look after yourselves. We'll see you again next week at 2100 Gin and Tonic, where we'll talk nonsense as ever. Look after yourself. Be careful out there, everyone. Bye-bye for now.